Hey, everybody, welcome to Fatso Radio. How you doing? This episode of Fatso Radio and every episode of Fatso Radio is brought to you by Volpe Martial Arts. Volpe Martial Arts is KW's hottest, newest Kung Fu and Hapkido school. Folks, check them out, volpemartialarts.com. Folks, today I talk about a couple things, a new job, what this new job means to me, and how I like it, and how I'm getting by with it. Let's do it. Lily, take it away. Fatso Radio. Thanks, folks.
Fatso, the really great podcast show.
Fatso, our very first podcast show.
Yeah. Hey, everybody, welcome to Fatso Radio. How you doing? This episode of Fatso Radio and every episode of Fatso Radio is brought to you by Volpe Martial Arts. Folks, Volpe Martial Arts is KW's hottest, newest Kung Fu and Hapkido school. That's right. Kung Fu, Chinese style, Hapkido, a Korean style, martial art. Those two martial arts are meshed together beautifully, and my brother, Sifu Adam, brings it to you each and every 5 or 6 days a week. Check it out, volpemartialarts.com. Folks, I'm going to get into something more personal again today. Not about COVID necessarily. Hopefully I'm going to try and stay on topic here. But basically, I got a new job. I got another job. I got another job. It's complicated, but I'm working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5-ish, 8 to 4, 7, whatever. It doesn't matter, but it's the morning shift. And I really like it. I'm making salami for all the things that I have done in my life, for all the things I thought I would be doing in my life. I didn't actually think I'd be making salami, but I love it. It's been a couple of weeks in, and I'm not going to mention the name yet because it's a small family business, and I don't know necessarily if they want me to talk about them, but that's not really it because I'm going to talk about them anyway. But I feel like I should give them the heads up before I talk about them, so I'm not going to talk about them yet specifically. But I'm going to talk about the business in general terms. But basically, making salami, we're making prosciutto, we're making all these Italian salamis and salumi, I guess. But I really like it. It's physical work. It's hard work. Like you're bending over, you're lifting up tons of meat, and you're picking up pipes of salami, and you're rolling lift trucks around, and you're picking up stuff, and your physical is bending, and you're moving, and you're squeegeeing all day long, and you're cleaning. And I like it. I like it not only because it's Fatso Radio, folks, and I like the ketogenic diet, and I like the carnivore diet. And not only do I like it, but those diets seem to like me, and they seem to help me thrive, or at least what I think is thriving. I may not be thriving in your eyes, but in my eyes, I'm alive and I'm thriving. And there's days where I feel like $1 million. There's days where I don't feel like $1 million, of course. But I really believe, and I know that when I'm on my diet, and when my diet is, or when I'm kind of, I guess when I eat what I think is real food is when I feel the best. When I eat junk, I don't feel the best. But you take it as you're going to take it, I guess. Or I guess what I'm trying to say is that you need to have the responsibility, and I need to have the responsibility, and I do have the responsibility. But I think people should have the responsibility to acknowledge the fact that if you're going to eat something bad, you're going to drink something bad, you're going to feel bad about it. Okay, well, you're going to feel bad, maybe physically, maybe emotionally, or whatever. But it's important to acknowledge where that's coming from, because I think sometimes this is kind of going off topic, but I think oftentimes we just chalk things up so easily as, oh, that's just life, or that's just the kind of day it is, or I don't know why I'm feeling this way, or I don't know why my knee hurts, or I don't know why I have this bloating digestion. Well, what did you eat? What did you eat? What did you drink? That's like, of course, your digestion is going to involve what you ate 4 hours before, or 2 minutes before, or 6 hours before, or whatever it is, same as what you're drinking. And your sleep, of course, is going to be affected by your diet. Everything's affected by your diet. It's not as simple as your body's a machine and the food is your fuel, but it can look that simple in so many circumstances when you're talking about either good fuel or bad fuel. I really do believe that it's about that. But the other reason why, many reasons why I like this job, but it aligns perfectly with my philosophy, I guess, right? Or the philosophy that I subscribe to, or the way of eating, or the way of life that I subscribe to, basically the carnivore diet. Yes, I'm not going to eat only salami 100% of the time, 100% of the days, but it's one of those things where I'm like, it's funny because on one hand, I'm a carnivore. Ketogenic diet has helped me as I think it saved my life. I think it's continuing to save my life from cancer, from weight loss, or from obesity. I mean, I'm still overweight, but I'm not obese anymore. And I think those are very, very important things. I want to touch on those with about COVID later on in the episode as well. But this aligns good with me in many ways, not just about the diet, because about the diet, or not just with the diet, because I can eat prosciutto anytime I want. The store is there. We make it, and they have a storefront, in the front of the building, and I can get it anytime I want. They sell it all over town as well, Vincenzo's, in Waterloo. But when I talk about more, when I get the okay and I get the blessing from the family, I'm gonna promote the crap out of this company, because it's awesome. It's awesome. I love it already. I've only been there a couple of weeks, right? But the older I get, the shorter amount of time it takes me to kind of acclimate to things. Sometimes I'm a quick learner, but also I just I've been around the block a little bit, and I understand people, and I get that human dynamic. I think I get it. I love people. I love people because the best jobs I've ever had are jobs where I had the best people, right? Or I got the best relationships with those people, whether it's working relationships as far as a great teamwork, or is just getting along, friendly enough. But this job, it came up. I was looking for something. The Canada Post thing is going whatever. I don't know. I wasn't working that much in the summer, and even now, I mean, they barely call me sometimes. I don't know, whatever's going on with that. Maybe I can work out some kind of evenings or weekends or overnights, or I don't know, kind of stuff. But I'm working now, and not just because of the food, like I said, not just because of salami and prosciutto and capocollo and pancetta we made yesterday, or the day before, and not just because of that food aligns perfectly with my diet, but also it's a family business. It reminds me so much of my dad and my uncle, as they started their business together, late 60s, early 70s. And then it's same idea with this family business. They started in 1970s, a family business, and they've kind of carried along through the years. They absolutely carried along through the years. Still around 50 years later, the family's involved, and I see that. And don't get me wrong, family businesses are crazy. I grew up in the family restaurant business, catering business, and just hospitality in general, right? Always catering to people, always serving food or serving drinks. I love it, but it's crazy. But I love it, but it's crazy, right? So don't forget, it's crazy. Now, granted, keep that in mind that I already acknowledge that it is crazy. I think, again, like I said, I love that dynamic, that it's a family business, and it makes me feel like I'm working for part of this family business. Yeah, it's not my business, of course. It's not my family at all, but I respect them. I respect what they've done. I just respect them for what they're doing, and for the the longevity they've had, and the hard work that it takes to run this business, and to do the work. And I'm doing it. And I've been there for a couple of weeks now, but I like it. I guess that's all I had to say about that specifically. What I like about it, again, like I said, the diet, the family business is good. I like it because it's physical. Now, it's hard, the physical part of my job makes it something that makes it difficult, right? But just because it's difficult doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. In fact, difficult things are really good for you, right? As long as you could balance it with something that will help you recover, something that will help you recuperate, something that will help you balance your mental state, or not just your mental state, but your physical state. Really, one of the things I found is that the more physical the jobs I've had over the years, it's funny because the older I get, the more physical jobs I get, it seems like, which I don't think is that common, but I don't know, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe it's a blessing, right? It's got to be, but in some senses it's a curse. I made more money when I was younger, right? But it's probably a blessing, because I should be happy. I should be happy, and I am happy that I can do the physical jobs at 43 that I couldn't do at 20. I know why I couldn't do them when at 20 and 25. Maybe I could, but I was too lazy, and I was too lazy to make my make my body good enough or ready enough for it, right? One of the reasons why I truly believe I never became a cop, a police officer, because when I was at that point where I was applying, or I was getting ready to, in college, I was so out of shape. I was so I was so physically weak. And it sounds funny because I was big and strong, but I was physically weak as far as my own physical readiness. It's all it is, right? I mean, I couldn't run and jump if I had to. I couldn't. I could have for a second or two, maybe, right? But I couldn't do something that would have taken a lot of work. It was something that, the beep test where you're running back and forth like a shuttle, kind of a shuttle run. That was very difficult for me. The mile run was different, or mile and a half run or whatever was pretty difficult for me. It would still be difficult for me now, I'm sure, but it would probably be easier because I'm not 320 pounds. I don't have chronic pain in my knees and my elbows and my shoulders, or not really my elbows, but my shoulders. I had some, um, and um, and now, even though my physical job during the day or at night or whatever it is may feel like it's hurting me, it's not really hurting me. It's not causing an injury, right? And that's one of the reasons why I like to stretch, and kung fu helps with that. Of course, martial arts helps with that because it keeps you in shape, it keeps you stretching, keeps you going, but it also helps with the job, right? And then vice versa, the job helps with kung fu. I'm finding, actually, without jumping around, but I'm finding that the physical day, 8 to 4 or whatever it is, that regular physicalness, you're tired at the end of the day. And I was really tired, too tired, in fact, to go to kung fu, but I still went on Tuesday. I did this Thursday, I missed because I had to work early today, but Tuesday I still went, and I kind of dragged my butt there. Really, so I dragged my butt, and God love you, brother, Sifu Adam. And but I felt great after. I got the stretch that I needed from that hard days of work, that hard day of physical work. That, I don't know, if you have the discipline if you have a physical job, like if you're a construction, if you're anything, any physical job, you're in any kind of trade, you have, and then after that day's work, after 8 hours of busting your back, busting your ass, you have the decency, or you have the discipline to go stretch or go yoga, or to go do yoga rather, or do kung fu or whatever it is, martial arts, to help you, then good, because that's really smart to do. But a lot of people don't, and a lot of people kind of then come home and sit down on the couch or on the lazy boy or whatever it is, or their favorite chair or whatever it is, and then just veg for the rest of the night. And before you get even further, I don't blame you at all. I don't blame you at all, because that's 100% the inclination that I feel, and most people feel, when they're having a long day or when they've had a long day. But I feel like my diet and my diet is just being whatever I eat, right? It's not, the keto is not my diet. Carnivore is not my diet. But my diet being made up of the keto carnivore, that when I eat what I think is real food again, and what I eat, what I consider food for me is optimal food, it helps me do that with no problem, right? So yes, my muscles are sore at the end of the day, but my joints aren't sore. I'm fortunate. But at the same time, I don't think it's just luck. It's not just luck. If you lose a bunch of weight and you eat foods you try to eat food that's not inflammatory, and you try to stay away from sugar, that's not, it's inflammatory. And it's I'm fortunate, but I think what I'm doing is working, but I'm also lucky that it's working too, right? I'm not going to be so arrogant to say that I figured this out and I know exactly. I'm testing myself every day, and I know that what I'm doing is keeping me healthy. I'm not saying that, but I think what I'm doing is definitely is helping, as far as like keeping me going when I'm going, right? So if I'm eating well and I'm eating what I consider, the optimal diet for me, then it really does help. It helps me recover, helps me sleep. And the better the better sleep you get, the better you're going to feel the next day, right? And the better you're going to be able to perform the next day. So I really think that that's part of it for me. And it's kind of been this way since I started. Well, since basically I started getting into the keto diet, and I saw all those benefits of the weight loss and just the joints and everything. And the other thing is, like, I think that once you realize, you can do it, then you feel like, I don't know, it's like, it's weird. Like for a lot of years, I didn't feel like I could have done any, a lot of the physical jobs, even like, I don't say even trade jobs, because it's a whole discussion about trades jobs that I want to get into one day, because I was actually steered away from trades jobs in college, to go to university, to go this and that or whatever. It doesn't matter because nobody's fault. But I think one of the reasons why, or part of the reasons why I didn't get into the trades, is that those jobs are very physical. They're very difficult jobs, and I didn't have the confidence in my body to be able to do something difficult for a long time. And I think I know why. I think I know why. It's because of the overweight, the extra weight that I had made everything difficult. Sorry, the extra weight. So the extra 100 pounds that I had made everything difficult. Yes. Even though I could still do a desk job, great. If you can still do a job that's semi-physical, right? Pretty good. But something that was very physical all the time was just not even in my idea, probably. But that paired with the idea that, I was kind of veered away from the trades just in general. I think my college or my high school and all that stuff, just, I don't know, maybe just my generation itself. I came from a generation where my parents were immigrants and my uncles and were all into trades and all into like physical labor jobs. And I think part of the wish for a bunch of our kids were not to do that. So, and I can't blame anybody for that, because I totally get that as well. But it's funny, the older I get, the more I feel like I need to do physical jobs. Maybe I need to do the work that I didn't do when I was 20. I don't know. Maybe this is one of the crosses that I bear. When we talk about the crosses, like, religious people talk, or Christians talk about bearing a cross, it's and I'm going to talk about religion once in a while, because it's one of those things that's like anything else in life. If I'm going to try and make sense of it, I'm going to talk to you about it. If you're listening, great. If you don't listen, don't worry about it. This is your first episode of Fatso Radio. Thank you for tuning in. This podcast is usually about diet only, or weight loss only, or how to lose weight, or how to do this and how to do that. And again, it's a great opportunity. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not giving you medical advice. It's really about my journey. I've lost 100 pounds doing the ketogenic, the carnivore diet, keeping it off. But not always keeping it off, right? I gained 20 pounds or 25 pounds over the last year, back down most of it, almost gone now. But I'm going to give an update again really soon. But this diet is not, or the podcast is not always just about that. It's about anything that I want to think about, anything I want to talk to you about, and that I'm just questioning and like journaling, kind of along my journey. And yeah, I think that, the idea that maybe it's one of those crosses I bear, I don't actually think that maybe it's a negative thing, because if there's any appreciation, or if there's any truth, or if there's any insight or real truth, I guess, in the idea that maybe the crosses that we bear are because we can bear them. It's funny, because I've never really believed that when I heard people say, well, God only gives you things that you can handle. I'm like, okay. But it's like, maybe the world only gives you things you can handle, I guess, right? Whether it's God or the world or you yourself, we take on things we can handle. But even though they seem really, really big, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe there's a reason that I got to 300 pounds and then lost a bunch of weight, and I'm here talking about it. Maybe that's God's plan. Maybe that's the universe's plan. Maybe this is weird way that karma works, to say, hey, if you beat the shit out of your body and abuse yourself, maybe now this is your cross that to bear, whatever you want to call it. You don't have to call it a cross, but maybe this is now your responsibility, or maybe now this is your the onus is on me now to go and spread the word, or to help people who are in a state where they're either 10 pounds overweight, or 20 pounds overweight, or 30 pounds overweight. If you're 10 pounds overweight, get the hell out of here. Just kidding. But if you're maybe it's my opportunity, it's my obligation maybe to do this. And I feel like there's a little bit of that. I'll be honest. Like, one of the things I'm going to give you a little behind the scenes here at Fatso Radio. One of the things I always thought was important to do was to have an episode every single Friday. And this is just one of those truthful moments where I'm just telling you what it's like to have a podcast. It's probably easy to find out what it's like to have a podcast because everybody has one. But one of the things that I do every single Friday, one of the things I do for this podcast, is have an episode every single Friday. Sometimes I record earlier on in the week, but oftentimes I don't. Oftentimes I sit down, I record on a Friday. It gives me the week's perspective. It gives me some time to think about episodes sometimes. If I have interview guests, doesn't matter. I can interview them anytime and I can throw it in. But one of the things that this podcast does is that it keeps me honest, right? Like, I can't come on here and lie to you. You're going to see it. If I lie to you, I hope you can see it. I think you can see it if I'm lying to you. But one of the things that, like, it keeps me honest, but it keeps me connected. It keeps me on focused with this, because even though sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes it's hard to do a podcast. Sometimes it's hard to think of a couple of things to talk about, and the next thing you know, I'm talking for half an hour. I get that, but it keeps me in the mindset of always making sure that I hope I can articulate this right. But one of the things that I made sure, or one of the things that I've said to myself, is I'm never going to get there that big and unhealthy again. And I think this is one thing of many things that will help me never get there again. I think it may be like someone who's addicted, because I have addictions, right? And if you're addicted to something and you need to stay away from that something, but something else will help you stay away from that, good. My addiction was food. My addiction is food, but it's not just any food. It's the food that was really bad for me. And this podcast, this YouTube channel, this weekly ritual, like a spiritual practice, like not a religion, because I'm not praising anything, but I'm it's keeping me grounded, at least to the ground of what I think is the best diet for me, to stay healthy, to stay happy, to and to spread the word, right? Because also coming here every Friday reminds me that the other promise I kind of made myself is, one, I promised I'm never going to get that big again. I'm never going to feel like that again. I'm never going to be unable to do the things that I want to do again. Another thing I promised myself is that I'm going to spread the word forever. I'm never going to stop. I'm never going to stop spreading this word, because even though it's hard to always spread a word. It's hard, but I'm never going to stop spreading this word, because it's so important that people know that you're not just a victim. Like, you're not a victim of bad luck that made you whatever state that you're in that you want to change. It's not that. It's your choices. It's choices that oftentimes you may have been misled, and I was misled, and I was misinformed, right? And I was uninformed about a lot of things. But it's not just shitty luck. That's what I'm trying to say. And there are solutions, there are answers. In the world today of 2021, I think it's 2021. Yeah. October 15th, by the way. In the world today of 2021, there are answers for everything. The hardest part is deciphering the bullshit from the facts. That's the hardest part. So it's not hard to find information these days. It's hard to find out what's real or not, because you're going to get just as much counter information as you are about truth, or what I think might be truth, or what I think might be optimal. For example, I can point you to a couple articles, a couple studies, many dozens, on the benefits of a ketogenic diet, the benefits of a carnivore diet, the benefits of a ketogenic diet and a carnivore diet for reversing many illnesses like type 2 diabetes. They can 100% reverse type 2 diabetes. You can probably show me, and other people can show me, studies and articles and journals about a vegetarian diet that can reverse diabetes, that can lower inflammation, can help with all sorts of things. So I get that. Where am I going with this? I don't know where I'm going with this, but I want to wrap this up. And I want to tell everybody that I appreciate everything. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the interest people have, the likes, the shares, the comments. Again, if you want to talk to me, let me know. fatsoradio@gmail.com. Hit me up on the Facebook page, Fatso Radio. Hit me up, Messenger or whatever it is. Let me know. You have yourself, you want to be on the show, someone you know wants to be on the show. Let's check it out. fatsoradio@gmail.com. Before we go, folks, I want to just touch one more thing about COVID and all the stuff around just the survivability around COVID. And I wish people would talk about it a little bit more. And it's just the idea around being healthier in general, right? I'm not trying to shame anybody or any group or anything, but it's not healthy to be overweight. It's not healthy to be diabetic, of course. It's not healthy to have heart disease, not healthy to have lung disease, not healthy to have hypertension, right? High blood pressure. It's not healthy to have, I don't know, kidney issues. It's not healthy to be sick, right? Okay. So one of the things you can really do, is to get healthy. And I know it's very, very hard to do, right? But it's the best plan. It's the best plan in the end, whether it's against COVID, whether it's against anything like the flu or the regular cold, whether it's against cancer. And that's the other thing we're not talking about anymore. We're not talking about cancer. We're not talking about all these other comorbidities that people have when they're talking about COVID. We're not talking about how to minimize or even diminish those, because these are diseases of civilization, apparently, basically diseases of the wealthy nations, right? Why are the wealthiest nations the ones that are hit hardest by COVID? But within the wealthiest nations, it's not the wealthiest people that are hit hardest. Yeah, the wealthiest nations are hit hardest by COVID, but the wealthiest people in the wealthiest nations are not. So that means that these wealthy nations that we live in are screwed up. That means that the lower incomes, which is often minorities, right, are the ones that are getting sick. Why? They're also the ones that have the worst health. Why? Cheap food, crappy food, subsidized food, right? Why aren't we talking about eating better? Why aren't we talking about eating better? Why? For the last 19, 20 months almost, we've been hearing many discussions, many discussions about get the vaccine, get the vaccine, get the vaccine, wear a mask, social distancing, get the vaccine. We get it. Where's the discussion at least a year ago should have been talking about, okay, now that we've said that, why aren't we going outside getting sunlight every single day? Why aren't we going out and getting exercise every single day? Why aren't we cutting out all the processed carbohydrates and industrial vegetable seed oils from our diet? Why aren't we saying that? That's what we should. That's what we should be saying. I messed that up. And I want to end on that. Whether you get the vaccine or not, if you want to get the vaccine, great. Don't push the vaccine on anybody else. I'm not going to push that I'm not getting the vaccine on anybody else. But whether you get the vaccine or not, the best thing for your health is to get your diet in check. Get your health in check by going outside, getting vitamin D, walking around the block, and getting your diet in check and your lifestyle in check. Are you drinking 5 days a week? Are you smoking cigarettes every single night? Let's be honest, right? If you're smoking every single night and you're drinking every single night, a lot. I can't say if you're just smoking at all or drinking at all. I don't know, but there's going to be some amount, right? That's going to affect your health. That's lifestyle choices. Same with eating crappy food. You can't eat French fries every single day and large Cokes and expect you to be healthy. And if you are drinking large Cokes every single day and having large fries every single day, and don't go outside and get vitamin D, and are 40 pounds overweight or more, right? Then you have and you have other diseases or other illnesses, then get the vaccine. And I actually encourage you to get the vaccine because you are at a higher risk. One of the reasons why I don't think that the vaccine is necessary for me is because I don't feel like I'm high risk. I feel like I have an immune system that will take care of this in a couple of days, maybe a week, who knows, if I were to get sick. I feel like there is a chance that I've already had COVID. It's been around for 2 years almost, right? I could have had it. No one's doing antibody tests on me anyway. But it's okay. I get it. The masks are fine. I can handle the mask. I wear a mask every day at work. I wore a mask every day at work for the last year and a half. It didn't matter. That's not what I'm complaining about. I just don't like the pushing. And I'm going to end it there. Get healthy, be healthy. I love you. Again, I'm not a doctor, but doctors will give you some of the same advice, not same advice, same direction, same maybe inspiration. I love y'all. Peace. That's our radio at gmail.com. Everybody, Vlad's going to say thanks for listening. I love y'all. Peace. Let's say bye to everybody. Bye. And we'll say thanks for listening. Say thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Fatso Radio, the really great podcast show.
Fatso Radio, the really great podcast show.
So get your butt and get in your chair.
Don't eat your nails and don't pull your hair.
We'll talk about chicken or talk about steak.
We'll talk about fat, for goodness sake.
Fatso, the really great podcast show.
Fatso, our very first podcast show.